We acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit. We honor this beautiful land together as we strive for collective healing and true reconciliation. Council, now moving on through the agenda, you have before you the minutes from September 6th. And I'll ask first, before we adopt those minutes, for you, if you would, report any errors or omissions. Hearing none, I'll call for a motion from Councillor Lane, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kiley, to adopt the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Any business arising, please? Okay, now we'll go on to the next section. Just bear with me. I'm just going through everything we've got here, and I'm going to land on a proclamation, I believe. Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Awareness Month, September 2022. Whereas fetal alcohol spectrum disorder is a diagnostic term used to describe impacts on the brain and body of individuals prenatally exposed to alcohol. FASD is a lifelong disability. Individuals with FASD will experience some degree of challenges in their daily living and need support with motor skills, physical health, learning, memory, attention, communication, emotional regulation, and social skills to reach their full potential. Each individual with FASD is unique and has areas of both strengths and challenges. Whereas FASD, Newfoundland and Labrador, is a pan-provincial organization that educates, provides supports and resources, and raises awareness about fetal alcohol spectrum disorder in Newfoundland and Labrador and Atlantic Canada. And whereas FASD-NL is leading a 3-year FASD prevention, awareness, training, and collaborative action project in the 4 Atlantic provinces. And whereas FASD Awareness Month is devoted to raising awareness of fetal alcohol spectrum disorder to improve the prevention of FASD and diagnosis and support for individuals with FASD, and broad public awareness helps to put FASD on the map. Excuse me. Therefore, I, Dave Eager, on behalf of my colleagues on council, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2022 to be FASD Awareness Month as a cause, issue, and special occasion in the city of Mount Pearl. Signed today on behalf of you, council, and that comes from FASD-NL, and they are situated in Grand Falls, Windsor, Newfoundland, and Labrador. Any comments before we, Councillor Lane, please.
Thank you very much. Well, as a teacher, I have worked with several students who have personally been impacted by FASD. And, you know, it's something that truly does impact their lives. And it's something that can be prevented. So I'm so glad that you brought this proclamation forward today, because we really need to be more aware of how we are health-wise, mentally, physically, while we're pregnant, because how we act and what we do while we're pregnant impacts our children for the rest of our lives. So I'm so glad that you brought this proclamation forward tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Kiley.
Just to add and to support my colleague statements, Councillor Lane, around the importance of bringing attention to this, I just also want to offer my gratitude and thanks to the organization FASD-NL for doing the work around prevention, and as well as frontline support for individuals living with this diagnosis. I think what's really important too is to acknowledge that prevention has come a long way, and again, it's a matter of understanding the importance of speaking openly and honestly about this disease, and moving away from what sometimes it looked at as a shame and a stigma of silence around fetal alcohol syndrome spectrum disorder, and also understanding that there is a very important correlation between offering a holistic amount of supports for women who are pregnant, not only just education, but the mental health supports, the social supports, the health supports, and the all-around community supports that is needed to help move forward. And because we know that alcohol is certainly in tandem with mental health at some points, trauma experiences, as well as addictions and mental health experiences. So I think it's so important. And I do want to commend the organization that has been bringing it to light. I think it has changed the fact that there's members like teachers, such as Councillor Lane and many others, talking about it openly and are working with members and children around it. It demonstrates a huge leap from, say, a past decade around this, which sometimes for anyone who is a parent and struggling with it, anyone who themselves have it and struggling with it, there's a lot more open supports. So I just want to thank all of my colleagues for supporting this. I certainly support this, and the organization that is bringing this to a proclamation today, so that we can talk more openly and honestly and in more of a holistic way of understanding this disease.
Thank you. Further comment? Okay, thanks, everybody. Let's move on now to the Planning, Engineering, and Development Committee report. Councillor Fry, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. First on our agenda this evening is some applications for funding. And this is for the ISIP program, which is Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. So we have two here in particular that we want to reapply for because of the increase in supplies since 2019. So the scope of this project, the first one is for Carroll Drive upgrading. And now this is between Holden Street and Evans Place, and this is everything. It's water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt curb, and sidewalk replacement. So it's the full meal deal. So the scope of this project is a complete reconstruction of Carroll Drive from approximately Holden Street to Evans Place, and replacement of all infrastructure within the limits of the city property right-of-way. So this includes all design, supply of construction materials, removal of existing infrastructure, and construction of new. So this project was applied for in 2020 at a funding request of 5.1 million, with the city's share of 30%. In this particular case, for ISIP projects, the federal government will provide 40%, the provincial government will provide 30%, and we provide 30%. So due to the cost escalation in 2020, the revised funding request is now $7.1 million. So it's an increase of $2 million for this particular project. So the Planning, Engineering, and Development Committee recommends that the city proceed with an application for funding of 7.1 million from the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, and I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Fry, and in the absence of Councillor Rice, the committee member, it's the Deputy Mayor who's seconding. So moved by the Deputy Mayor. Thank you very much. Councillor Antle.
Yeah, this is great to see that we're moving forward with the work on Carroll Drive. Just a quick question. I noticed a couple of days ago, there was a large tractor on the back of Carroll Drive. Is that us doing extra work for this?
I think there's a drainage issue maybe on the hill. Director Antle this time.
Councillor Antle, Your Worship. I believe that's on the right-hand side of Carroll Drive going up. That's the work of Newfoundland Power. They're putting in some new poles at the back of the properties on Carroll Drive.
Okay, thank you. And this project here, it's needed. This doesn't start. We're only applying for funding, or this is to go forward?
This is a revised application. We've made this application in 2020 based on estimates we prepared in 2019. And this is a revised application because of the cost escalation since that time.
Gotcha.
And Infrastructure Canada requires a minute of council, I think, as a way of proceeding with the application. Any further questions, thoughts? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Back to you.
So the next one is a similar situation. And this is an application for funding for Spruce, Birch, Roosevelt Avenues, and Carroll Drive. And it's water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt curb, and sidewalk replacement, and Billard Avenue water main lining and trunk sewer realignment. So the scope of this project is a complete reconstruction of Spruce Avenue from Croucher Place to Commander Place, Birch Avenue, including sanitary sewer realignment and water main looping, Roosevelt Avenue from Donovan Street to Ruth Avenue, Carroll Drive, excluding the existing water main, and structural water main lining on Billard Avenue. So this project was also applied for in 2020 at a funding request of 5.05 million, with the city's share of 30%. And again, due to the cost of escalation since 2020, the revised funding request is now 7.3 million. So the Planning, Engineering and Development Committee recommends that the city proceed with the application for funding of 7.3 million from the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. And I so move.
Moved by Councillor Fry and again seconded by Deputy Mayor Kiley. Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question here for timing. Assuming that, you know, this application gets approved, can we see work on this? I know we'll be planning most likely director over the winter, and hopefully commencement of in-ground work probably as soon as the construction season permits next year. Would that be accurate?
Councillor Locke, there's a lot of things have to come together. Optimistically, you're exactly right. The application has to be made. We have to receive response. We have to consider then either we've got a couple of things right now. We've got an existing RFP, depending if we can maintain that. If not, we'll have to re-procure, and that'll be our biggest delay. So if everything comes together as we hope, yes, we could be doing the design work over this winter for a potential start on construction next season. Otherwise, it might be late next season or even the year following.
Okay.
But Director, sorry, go ahead, Councillor.
The reason for me asking, Mayor and Director, I noticed that Councillor Fry in her presentation here mentioned the realignment of the sewer down on Birch Avenue and the Riverview Avenue and what's the other one? Winston Avenue down that way. And we know with Larry that came through a couple of weeks ago, we saw some surging down that area. So I'm pointing this out specifically because I know there's some residents down there that are anxious to see when this work actually commences. So I'm glad that you mentioned optimistically it could be next year, but not to get hopes up, depending on, like I said, all the things that must align here. It could be the following year, but nonetheless, it'll be reassuring to these residents that we are committed funding to do this and to try to alleviate, mitigate to some extent the actions and the surging that they're having down that particular part of our city. Thank you, Your Worship.
All good. Thank you very much. Anybody else? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Back to you, Councillor Fry. Number 3.
So also with the ISIP program, on August the 26th of this year, the city was advised of approved funding under the ISIP program for the Barber Drive area, which was applied for in the fall of 2021. So this is for water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt curb, and sidewalk replacement for Barber Drive. It's a notice of approved funding. So the Planning and Engineering and Development Committee recommends that the city proceed with accepting of this funding for the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. And the project number is 17-GI-23-00014, and it's water, sanitary, storm sewer, asphalt curb, and sidewalk replacement in the Barber Drive area, and I so move.
I don't think a motion's required to accept a funding. We already approved the application. I mean, I'll entertain it. I don't see anything wrong with it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know why we would. I don't think we've ever done motions before to accept funding. We put our hand out and cash the check, right? Director Antle?
Your Worship, according to the letter of approval of the funding, it requires council's acceptance of the funding.
There's other bureaucracies in the world. I got you. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carried. Thanks for that clarification.
So next on our agenda is a variance application request. So the city is in receipt of a variance request application by Norman's Contracting Limited, and they're seeking a variance for the reduction in the required minimum side yard width at number 13 Badger Place. So the applicant is requesting a decrease of 6% from the minimum side yard of 2.4 meters, decreasing this distance to 2.27 meters. The subject property is located within the residential single unit detached use zone, and the property complies with all other development standards required in the city of Mount Pearl, Development Regulations 2010. The owner is looking to decrease the minimum side yard as it appears that the foundation was excavated incorrectly. So a variance will allow a deviation of 6% from the required 2.4 meters between the side lot line and the side wall of the dwelling. Now, in terms of relationship to adopted plans and regulations, the proposed development is located within the residential land use designation, and the proposal is subject to meeting the goals of objectives and policies of the City of Mount Pearl Municipal Plan for 2010. As well, the subject property at 13 Badger Place is in the residential single-use detached use zone, and the proposed side yard minimum reduction is pursuant to section 4.17 of the Mount Pearl Development Regulations 2010. The variance request may be considered for approval by council after adequate notification has been made in accordance with regulation 4.17 requiring public notice. And the public consultation process, the adjacent property owners, number 12 and number 14 Badger Place, were contacted and have no issues with the proposed variance. Therefore, the Planning, Engineering, and Development Committee has processed this variation request application as per section 4.17 of the Mount Pearl Development Regulations 2010. And the department has reviewed the application submitted by Norman's Contracting Limited to reduce the minimum side yard width requirement from 2.4 meters to 2.27 meters. So our committee recommends approval and that a development permit be issued, subject to the conditions as outlined by the following, which is the City of Mount Pearl Inspection Services, Finance, Planning, and Engineering Service Divisions, and the City of Mount Pearl Development Regulations 2010 and all related requirements. And I so move.
Moved by Councillor Fry, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Any questions or comments? I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Motion carried.
Now, this one today is National Tree Day. And National Tree Day is an opportunity to celebrate the many benefits that trees provide, such as clean air, cooler cities, wildlife habitat, and connection with nature. So the city is proud to support National Tree Day today. And this week is also National Forest Week. And the theme this year is Canada's Forests, Solution for a Changing Climate. And just to add to that, I wanted to talk about our what we do here in the city of Mount Pearl, because National Tree Day is an opportunity to celebrate the many benefits that trees provide. And we're working on, and we almost have it ready, is our Mount Pearl Urban Forestry Plan. It's called Setting Roots and Growing Forward. So we have it drafted and it's coming through the process. The vision of the plan is to create a healthy, sustainable, and accessible urban forest that is properly managed and cared for, benefiting our residents and businesses with improved social, economic, and environmental well-being, while enabling council and staff to provide cost-effective implementation, management, and maintenance. So the goal of the plan is to strive to increase the city's tree canopy coverage by planting a minimum of 1,000 trees of varied species by 2035. Residents and businesses will be invited to contribute to this goal, and TD Tree Days is an example of our business community working together. Council has dedicated $150,000 towards tree planting as it works towards the goals included in the plan. And this year, a contract has been awarded to advance this work, which we had discussed there a few months ago. So as this works through, I know we're all excited to do more with this, and this will be coming forward, but I just wanted to mention that now as it is National Tree Day. And that's just for information purposes.
Happy Tree Day. Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm delighted to see Councillor Fry bring this in. I'm glad that, again, Mount Pearl is progressive in this front in adopting an urban forestry plan. and that we now realize that our trees and our vegetation is certainly a part of our green infrastructure. And we all know the benefits of trees for water retention, for example, during storm conditions like we had with Larry. And also I found it interesting listening to CBC Radio earlier this week. Doctors in British Columbia can now actually prescribe their patients to spend time in nature. So some doctors may prescribe to help your ailments, whatever they may be, mental health primarily, but even physical health, blood pressure, is to spend time in nature. And when you consider that we have 60 kilometers of trails in 16 square kilometers of our city's footprint here, we are very fortunate to have that. So the fact that council has adopted this or is in the process of adopting this urban forestry plan, I think Councillor Fry said 1,000 trees per year up to 2025. Is that correct? By 2035, sorry. So that'll be another 10,000 trees. And that's the responsible thing to do, because, you know, as we do have some areas for further development up on Northlands, for example, that will require the removal of some trees, obviously. But we are cognizant of the fact that you know, the removal of trees coincided with that is going to be the replanting of trees. So it's all about increasing our tree canopy. And you know, we know the benefits for fresh air and shading and urban heat islands. And but this is new for your mental health. And I do know, for example, in the Japanese school system, in their curriculum, they have forest bathing, where the children actually go outside and spend time in the forest as a part of their school day. And that also enhances and increases their learning capability and their academic achievement. They also mentioned in the CBC report earlier this week that they did a study with young girls, teenage girls, and college age girls, and just whether their rooms fronted on a parking lot or a concrete urban environment, and that opened up into green space, and their incidence of depression, mental health challenges were way down for those that overlooked the treed environment. So I think we're finally getting it right. We've developed or advanced, and I use that in air quotes, because I know our Indigenous people for years have always been reminding us about the importance of Mother Earth and our connection with Mother Earth. And we've now realized, I think, as a society, as an urban, you know, developed country, that we're not above nature, we're one with nature. And if we want to continue to have successful, healthy lives, we do have to incorporate and protect the natural environment. So I'm delighted that we're recognizing National Tree Day, and I'm extremely delighted that we're moving forward with our urban forestry plan. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you to my colleague, Councillor Watt, for the committee to move this forward and for the work so far offered to this. I find it really interesting that today there was a post that I traditionally, it's been a wonderful tradition that, or a kind of a social media post that Admiralty House Communications Museum has been putting out for the last couple of Wednesdays, called Wellness Wednesday. And interestingly enough, today's post was about let's get outdoors, and pretty much surmising what Councillor Locke had identified, which is just being in green spaces has proven to reduce your stress and anxiety. It improves cognition and it helps you sleep better. And the other thing that I'm recognizing one of the most beautiful things and ways in which I think we could describe Mount Pearl is it is a city within a park. And the fact that we are truly not only honoring that through utilizing the incredible green spaces that have been developed and supported, but also that we're now being smart about that, and that we are actioning and have a strategic plan in place that certainly not only makes it a lovely, idea or consideration, but we're investing in that idea in a very smart and strategic way. So I just wanted to offer my utmost support for this plan, and as well as the upcoming actions that are going to be following suit. But also just it's an interesting time that we have such beautiful green spaces already, and I'm just thinking of Admiralty House Museum, its gardens behind. It's a very small piece of property, but what they have developed there, and truly gardens and green space do heal, and they can heal in all sorts of ways, and it is an important part of our community. So thank you for all those that done the work and put this forward, and to my colleagues that supported this. This certainly is not this is a long-term endeavor that it's wonderful to see some of the fruits of the labor, and I'm happy to be a part of that moving forward.
Happy Canada Tree Day. Thank you very much. Let's move on to building and occupancy.
So next on our agenda, the Planning, Engineering, and Development Committee recommends that the building permits issued for the period showing a total construction value of $1,991,300 be approved, and further that the occupancy permit list be accepted as presented. So as you can see here, there's decks, fences, exterior renovations, lots of work happening, as well as a building expansion on Glencoe Drive. And I so move.
It is moved again by Councillor Fry, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kiley. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
So next, we recommend that the following development permits be approved as presented for the period of September the 5th to the 16th. And as you can see here, there are 4. And I so move.
Moved again by Councillor Fry, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. All in favor? Those opposed? And that's carried as well. Thank you.
And finally, for our report, just for information, some status updates. Park Avenue Asphalt Renewal. This is the area down around, they're working now on the Dunn's Bridge down around the corner there. And just for the information of public, tomorrow there's going to be some traffic disruptions. They're going to be doing some work from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And there's going to be traffic reductions probably down to 1 lane. And that's until the work is completed. And that's expected for about probably 2 weeks. And then following that, the bridge is going to have to be closed completely for waterproofing and paving. So I just wanted to let people know, people in the area, I believe, have been advised, and just to let people know, perhaps to find an alternate route for the next couple of weeks. St. David's Avenue Smart Accessible Playground, the structures are being assembled on site, and the rubberized surface is being installed. Councillor Antle?
Just one quick note on that. When you say the bridge is going to be closed, how long will the bridge be closed?
Just a couple of days at the most, I believe.
Director Antle, please.
Right now, we're contemplating a 2 to 3 day period. If we can get it done weather-wise, get it done faster, it probably comes to Fry's right. It could be a couple of days.
But a couple of days. Have we notified the schools, because the schools use that route to get to Mary Queen World?
When we get through the concrete piers in the next couple of weeks,
Yeah.
we'll have the time frame and the actual dates refined, and we'll identify then to emergency services, schools, and others.
Yeah, if you notify the school busing system, because they'll be going.
The
that
school
area.
board will take care of that. Yeah. But could it be done on a week? Yeah, absolutely. Could it be done on a weekend?
There's the potential. It depends again on whether
Where you stand in terms of the project. Gotcha.
whether and when we're to that end. So it might be could be a business day, or it could be a weekend.
Anybody else with any questions? I'll let Councillor Fry finish the report, and then you had one other item, I think, in that one other bullet. Is that correct?
Yep, one more. For the asphalt and concrete, the contract has been awarded and work is currently ongoing at various locations. And it will be over the next, probably for about a month or so, as long as we have the weather permitting. And that's it for our report this evening, Your Worship. Thank you.
Any other further questions on that committee's report? Thank you, Councillor Fry. Well done. Moved along really quickly. Councillor Rice is probably watching as we speak. I'm going to move on now in the agenda. Recreation, Community Safety, Councillor Lane.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the first thing on our report this evening is the Summit Center and fitness spaces and pools. So for the information of the public, the Summit Center fitness spaces and pools will reopen on Sunday, September 25th. The next item is the fitness program classes fall sessions. So for the information of the public, the fitness programs will begin the week of October 2nd. Registration dates to be posted in the coming days. And the third item is the swim lessons and recreation swim schedule for the fall session. The fall session of the swimming lessons and registration dates will be posted next week. The recreation swim schedule will be posted to the city's website on Friday, September 23rd. I know there's been a lot of residents who are anxiously awaiting the opening of our fitness center and the resuming of our swimming classes. So please keep watching and we'll have it posted soon. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'll pass it over to my colleague, Councillor Antle.
Your Worship, I have two here. Number 4 is the Glacier Arena. We're starting making the ice at the Glacier Arena. It's continuing right now, and an update will be provided to all user groups and the public once the opening date is determined. And number 5 is really exciting also, is for the Mount Pearl Seniors Independence, the weekly card game. And underneath that is also their bingo, because myself and the mayor have been regular callers, and we're getting professional at it now, I think. So I think most of the seniors look forward to their card games, and it's a great afternoon. And sometimes you might even get a day crumble. So, and that's everything for our committee, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. Well reported. I did talk to Kim Pelly, the president of Mount Pearl Minor Hockey last night. And they're grateful that, they can get back to home turf, so to speak, or home ice. And they're looking forward to the glacier reopening in the next week or two. So that's all good news. And I want to commend all of our staff with regards to, the back to work process that's been put in place coming out of the strike. And seems like in a couple of weeks, it'll be much behind us and we'll be operating a bit like we always have in the past. So thank you from all of council. Corporate Services and Public Works Committee, Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take the first two and I'll turn it over to Deputy Mayor. First one for us tonight, Your Worship, are the invoices for approval. You can see we have 9 listed there. The total is $198,062.37. And again, you can see some of the regulars that are coming through here. And I move that the amount be accepted as presented.
Moved by Councillor Locke, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Any questions, comments? The bills still have to be paid. Councillor Antle, please.
Just one thing. I was excited about it, but I noticed this trackless 5-way plow. I guess that's for the snow. But is that for our trail grooming? Yes. Oh. Yeah, that's exciting to see that too.
Yeah, that's the towing device. I wish it was the tower. No?
That's not the tractor?
Trackless 5-way plow. Director Dallemont, please.
No, number 7 here, that's actually a blade that we use for our sidewalk. Piece of equipment.
The trackless is a very small mobile snowblower.
Yeah, well, the trackless is like it's kind of like a Swiss Army tool, I guess you'd call it. Like trackless we use for multiple different attachments. This is just for a blade for one of those tractors.
$10,000.
Wow, I thought it was for the tractor. So.
That was 1970.
I guess I never bought one of them lately. So,
well, everything's in budget. So I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Thank you.
Next for me, Your Worship, is the payment register. For the information of council, you can see our payment registry here for September 9th to the 13th of 2022. And a total of $439,256.04. And we're open to any questions that council may have.
Hearing none.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Locke. So I'm going to first identify a Public Works update. Oh, no, I think I'm getting some reverb.
Too close. Maybe it's me. Hang on.
Maybe too. It's too close. Yeah. How about that? It's better?
Good.
Okay, much better for my ears. So going to do just an update on Public Works. Regular garbage and recycling collection is going to resume as of Thursday, September 22nd, and that's tomorrow. Also, the Public Works team members are busily preparing for the potential effects of the Hurricane Fiona. That we are certainly closely monitoring. And also just an update as with regards to animal control services will be resuming in full tomorrow as well, Thursday, the 22nd. And then that takes me to our final item. Just wondering, how's that?
It's not you, it's the microphone.
Or move it down.
Move it down. Bear with us, folks. Okay. So the final item on our agenda for our section of the agenda is the new collective agreement with CUPE Local 2099. The committee notes that the city's collective agreement with its unionized employees represented by CUPE Local 2099 expired on June 30th, 2022. A tentative agreement was reached on September 17th, 2022, and CUPE ratified the agreement on September 20th, 2022. The agreement covers a 4-year period from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2026. The agreement includes a wage increase at 9% as followed. July 1st, 2022, 4%. July 1st, 2023, 3%. July 1st, 2024, 1%, and July 1st, 2026, 1%. Other agreement details include a wage agreement within the city's fiscal constraints, improved service delivery to residents and business community through an increase from 4 to 6 employees scheduled for the weekend maintenance and snow clearing during the winter season, the introduction of 2 personal leave days for our employees, a reduction in sick leave days from 21 to 18, and an increased meal allowance. The committee further notes that this agreement helps protect the future of City Mount Pearl and maintains Mount Pearl's position as an employer of choice. The committee recommends approving the collective agreement between the City of Mount Pearl and CUPE Local 2099 as negotiated by both parties, and further that the mayor, CAO, and bargaining team be authorized to sign the agreement on behalf of the city. And I so move.
It is moved by Deputy Mayor Kiley, seconded by Councillor Locke. Any further comments from you, Deputy Mayor?
Absolutely. First and foremost, as I'm sure many of my colleagues would like to extend and recognize the impacts over the past couple of months, it has been with the labor disruption. And we want to thank everyone for their patience, understanding during this time, specifically our residents and our business and our communities and everyone that had been directly impacted by this. Personally, it is very at this point. It's a milestone today and an important day to have this in front of us. A collective agreement that works for everybody, that is reasonable and fair, and also, more importantly, gets us doing what we do best: working together and making this the most incredible place to live, with the most incredible services, supports, and resources for our city. And I just want to say that, again, this has been, I know, certainly a difficult time for so many. And really our focus right now is to ensure that our services are back up and running as we are always had expected, as quick and as effectively and as strategically as possible. That also, this is the first of our work coming back together as a team, and knowing that everyone under that team will be coming into an environment that includes a safety as it is foremost, that is respectful, and that we are working together to make this not only what we have as services, but on the horizon, what we have planned to increase and enhance and do the work that we do great, and that this team around this council have been elected to do, which is not only be stewards of the city, but also increase, enhance, and bring forward the work that's going to make us even further proud, and sustainability at its forefront. We have many things ahead. We are looking at a hurricane just in a matter of a couple of days. That's just an important indication that even our environment has changed, that our challenges will be changing, and that working together and doing it in a responsible way with everybody involved is going to be so important. And I'm proud to be a part of this team. I am proud of the members that put this together on both sides, the bargaining team. I am proud of our council, and I'm proud of the work that got us here today. It was not an easy endeavor. It certainly wasn't a challenging endeavor. And certainly our services were impacted at points. Certainly, I'm sure our health and our mental health were impacted on all sides. Not only there's social and economic impacts on this. So I am very pleased to be able to move this forward, demonstrate the details of this. And again, this is a promising start to working together and coming together as a team. And I can't support this enough. And I'm happy to be here at this point.
Councillor Locke, thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. As the Deputy Mayor said, it was time. It's nice to see a resolution to this. It was a tough 10 weeks on everybody involved. And again, our residents, our youth, the recreation was impacted, sporting events. And so it was a tough go. Negotiations, involve some give and take and compromise and discussion. And I too want to commend our bargaining committee on the job they did to get this to resolution. But there's more work to be done. Deputy Mayor mentioned about the social and economic impacts of this strike on everybody, but also the mental impacts. And several residents have reached out to me, and yes, about the strike, and they wanted it to end, but also their concern about the conduct, some of the behaviors that took place during this strike, on the picket lines, and what they witnessed and encountered, and they were concerned about that. Again, from the mental health perspective. As the Deputy Mayor said, our goal here as an employer is to ensure a safe and healthy work environment. And we pride ourselves on that. Since my time on council, safety has been priority there. But it doesn't just include your physical safety and health. It also includes your mental health and safety of our employees. And I think the concern expressed by the residents was the impact that this has on our employees, on both employees. There was some conduct on the picket line that probably stepped outside the normal picketing, and it impacts everybody, all workers. It impacts workers that witnessed that. They may not have been contributing to that behavior, so they vicariously are impacted by that, seeing their colleagues conduct themselves in such a way. But it also impacts the recipients. In this case, it was our management staff that for 50 days came into work and encountered unpleasant, disrespectful behavior by some, not by all. And it's unfortunate that that happens. I just retired from the teaching profession. In the last 15 years, we worked diligently on trying to educate our youth on how to conduct themselves respectfully and respectful conflict management, and the inappropriateness of any sort of intimidation or bullying or harassment, and some of the behavior that was displayed during the picketing was not a model for that type of lesson that we've been giving to our youth over the last number of years. And it does have lasting mental impacts for some people. So yes, it was stressful and anxiety ridden on the picket line, but then there's the spillover effect. Now we're back into the environment where we have to come back in, and there's that time lag that we now have to work through that. So there's still work ahead to get through this. And there's got to be a better way. There has got to be a better way. As I've reflected on this over the past 10 weeks, we have made great strides in our society, in our legislation, occupational health and safety, respectful workplace policies. But when you look at the Labor Relation Act and what's permitted or for striking workers, it's peaceful persuasion, but it's not explicit enough to outline what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. And I think it's time that amendments are made to the Labor Relation Act. It has to get current to the evolving will of the population and what's expected right now and what's acceptable behavior. And unfortunately, some of the behavior that we witnessed was not respectful and it was harmful. And we can do better and we need to do better. We need to do better for the mental health and well-being of all workers, not just in the city of Mount Pearl, but workers everywhere. We have to be the change we want to see. So I'm delighted that we've reached a resolution, and I'm delighted that we're back to work. I'm looking forward to, moving forward as the mayor said, and that we're going to be welcoming our workers back, and we're going to have to work for a harmonious environment here, work environment. But the key is respect each other, respect the work they do. Treat people like you want to be treated. We have a professional working environment here that's founded on highly held values and principles. We are all valuable members to this organization, and nobody deserves to be disrespected at any time. Just a note, Your Worship, I know Councillor Lane made reference to some of the great changes that are coming now to our facilities. On our webpage, we have a little webpage, created within our city website called Reopenings and Resuming Services. And I encourage our residents to go there to get ongoing updates. We will update that on a regular basis. Links can be found in the main menu or from within the rotating carousel of featured banners on the website. And staff are returning to work. We had some back today. Some will be back tomorrow. But the hope is that that everyone will be back to work on Friday. Again, it wasn't a pleasant circumstance. The cliche is that no one wins, and that is so true. No one wins in a strike circumstance. And I just look forward now to getting on with the work of the city and bringing back to Mount Pearl what our residents expect, our high level of services, but also working on a better working relationship here in the city of Mount Pearl. That's it for me, Your Worship. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Councillor Antle, please.
Thank you, Councillor Locke and Deputy Mayor, for bringing in that motion. It certainly has been a rough 50 days, and it's great to be back in the chamber again and seeing all you guys, all your happy faces face to face. A couple of things that the Councillor Locke brought up, and as I made a few notes, is it's a new day, it's a new agreement, and we move on. I had some residents call me already, and a couple of comments that came back to me is that we're going to bring the city back to life. And that's something like we're looking at, is bringing the city back to life. I mean, our employees were out for 50 days and, things were closed, and we're trying to reopen that again. And, we're all looking forward to that. Little things like our trails are being groomed and the city starting to reopen, as myself and Councillor Lane were talking about in our report. We have things starting to open up slowly. The glacier is getting ice back on. And I'm certainly glad that we got an agreement. It was a hard fought battle, and not a battle, but it was a hard fought agreement. I mean, that both bargaining teams worked very, very hard, and they came up with an agreement that's acceptable to all. And I'm looking forward to working together for the next many, many, many years. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Antle. Over to you, Councillor Lane.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think that my colleagues really captured most of what happened the last 10 weeks. And needless to say, I mean, it was difficult for everyone involved. But I just wanted to take this to say how proud I am of our bargaining team. They have done so much work over the last 10 weeks. And they really need to be commended for that, because it was no easy feat for anyone involved, but particularly for them. So I just want to say a huge thank you to them, because, I'm just so thrilled that we're back to the point where we're all able to work together again. And like Councillor Angel said, we're going to start having things open again. I'm looking forward to some hopefully fall festivities that myself and Councillor Angel will hopefully be discussing in our upcoming meetings, because I know our residents have been so looking forward to having things resume, and not just after COVID, but now also after the past 10 weeks. So I think that we have some very exciting times going forward as a city. And I think that, all we can do now is look forward and work together as a team, as we have, in the past. And Mount Pearl is a wonderful place to live, a wonderful place to work, and such a great sense of community. So I'm just so looking forward to starting off the next 3 years on such a positive note. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Fry, please.
Yes, I echo everything that's been said. I am just so happy to have and to be able to get back to normal and to do what we do best. And I know we have a lot of things planned in the next 3 years. I'm looking forward to implementing that. We do have a great team. We do have a great staff, and I'm glad to see that they're back. I also, further to what Councillor Locke was saying, I was really disappointed in some of the behaviors. This is 2022, and society has come so far in terms of bullying and aggressive behavior. And I was really disappointed to see that some of that displayed over the last 10 weeks. And, we can do better. And I don't know what the answer is, but I was just really disappointed to see that. These are times now when a lot more attention is put towards respectful behavior, and that's what I would like to see more, is respectful behavior. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But I also want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the work of the 42 members of our non-bargaining unit over the last 10 or 11 weeks. I was talking to a resident the other day, and she was so grateful for the services that were maintained. And I know, we all know that it was inconvenient to a lot of residents, but for the 42 members who stepped up and came to work every day and put their effort, gave up their summer, went through every single day going through the motions. I cannot express my gratitude enough. Garbage was collected, and the permits were issued, and a lot of the key services were maintained. Yes, there are a lot of things that were inconvenienced, but for the most part, I think they did an amazing job. And I just want to say a sincere thank you to all of those people. And I'm just glad everybody's back. I'm looking forward to what we're going to do next together, all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. And I just want to say to the public, because we represent, as the employer, we represent the citizens of Mount Pearl. But this was a set of negotiations that were really about financial matters for the most part. Yes, there was distractions and displays that, frankly, we don't want to see. If you want to come to work for the city of Mount Pearl, you expect to be respectful and work in a safe way. And I think we as councillors, we as managers, we as members of QP 2099, I think we all aspire to that. What I observed during the strike was the tone was set by the leaders. And I want to commend Dana Spurl, our CAO, for the tone she established. I know the tone established by council was also very professional. I wouldn't say low key, but we didn't get too angry and frustrated. We were very, very patient. We reflected that because our residents were very patient with us. We did make gains in terms of sick leave reduction, which is financial. The winter shift issue is very financial in orientation for us, and also in management rights. So there's always a bit of give and take. I believe it's a good wage increase for our unionized workforce. 9% over 4 years is it's certainly not out of the realm of what we see in other agreements for this time. And let's be honest, for every family in our province, in our country, whether you're in a union or you're not, every family is seeing the effects of inflation. I looked at the capital works projects tonight that Councillor Fry brought in. And, I think each of those projects, Director Antle, were up 30–40%. And that's some of the supply related inflation that's come through since COVID. So we're all feeling that. We're no different at the end of the day. But I think it's a good wage increase that I feel is sustainable, and we can work with that within our fiscal realities. At the end of the day, when we bring down the budgets, people don't want to hear of large increases, because when you go back to that whole discussion I just said about or talked about with inflation, our residents and our businesses don't want to see large tax increases. They expect us as elected members to ensure that as custodians of their public purse, that we manage their money fiscally responsibly. And I think we do, and we take that approach. And but I get that, if I'm an employee, I want to raise under these circumstances these days. So it was a hard fought set of negotiations. It was long and protracted. Personally, from my observation, I'm very grateful for the Atlantic CUPE director who came down last week. And I thought there was a little bit of a get it done attitude that was presented at the table that we never saw before. And I think that started on a Thursday, and by 10:30 on Saturday, with a few gyrations thereafter, we had a tentative agreement that was presented to the union last night. And I want to thank the union for, getting their vote done as quickly as they could. And services, yes, will slowly rebuild in the coming days. That's all I'm going to say, with the exception of, yes, to our management staff under very difficult circumstances. You delivered our services well with distinction. You were stellar in the way you conducted yourself. And I want to say to the bargaining team and the directors and staff in this room, our city clerk is here as well. You acted commendably, hardworking. And I think the residents of Mount Pearl and this city council are proud of the way you worked. And I know we'll be proud as you navigate the waters ahead in terms of the transition. So CAO, I would like to hear from you in terms of, where we've been, but it's in the past. So now it's about transitioning back to that sense of normalcy. Many challenges will face us in terms of workplace culture, I think, in the short run. How are you feeling?
Thank you, Worship. Feeling great. As everybody acknowledges, it's been a challenging 3 months, and it's clearly difficult to balance priorities when you have that many stakeholders that have they're bringing their own priorities to the table. And I think the union appreciated we were trying to work within an operating envelope that we didn't want to grow. It was just striking the right balance of, where we wanted to spend those operational dollars. And we did that. It took a while, but we got there. And I just want to say you have a great workforce. Like, everybody in Mount Pearl knows the great services that are delivered through the city every day. And I was delighted today to see some of our workers come back. I met with each of them. As you're right, it's a transition, and it's difficult to bridge those waters, but we're doing it. And we have a storm potentially coming this week. And I'm sure if it hits, you will see all of us pull together to navigate that the way we do every day of the year. So I think we'll rebuild, and we'll be greater than ever. So on the storm, we are tracking it. And if necessary, you'll see updates on the website, cautioning folks and letting them know how the city will respond. So keep your fingers crossed we don't get to that point.
Thank you very much, Council. In terms of the politics of it, when you sit in these chairs, you get elected. Every day is a challenge. Today's a new day. The job's not always easy, is it? But at the end of the day, we move forward to the next day. So I want to congratulate all my colleagues too for their contributions made during the strike. In terms of ensuring it didn't get out of control at our end, and ensuring that we remain focused on our residents and trying to resolve the disagreement that developed. Deputy Mayor, final thoughts as you close the debate.
Thank you, Your Worship. I believe between all of our colleagues and our CAO that all the most important aspects and parts and gratitude have been shared today. And I think of one thing that is I think I'm reflecting on the most. And that is, I think, key is what is to come next and moving forward. Because even in amongst the most difficult and challenging experiences, time, learning is essential. And so what I'd like to do and what I have done through this experience as, new to this table, relatively, but certainly to this process and any sort of challenge, that I am hopeful and I'm also excited to take our learnings from this experience and moving that in to the good work that we build together as a team in a respectful manner, in a manner that is only worthy of the city and what our residents expect, what our workers and staff expect, and what I would expect. And so that's, I think, the most important is to moving forward, what learning we take. And otherwise, we're staying in the past. We don't see change. So even in the most difficult circumstances and even the most difficult times, reflecting on the learning and what we can take from this as important measures, important strategies, and also relationship building as we move forward. So with that, that's my little final word on that. And the debate is closed.
Debate is closed. Thank you. I'm having trouble with our microphones here today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations to the City of Mount Pearl and QP 2099. Now, where do we stand in terms of business? We are at the end of the table. I believe the next for the roundtable, Councillor Locke will go first, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to build on some of my council colleagues and Madam CEO's commentary, it is good to be back. We do have a great workforce here. And like you said, if my first item here is Fiona, that's on the way, that's going to make landfall, I think Friday night into Saturday morning. And I have no doubt, as happened with the massive snowstorm that we had and with COVID, that our employees will rally to provide the best level of services that they can to our residents. So I expect nothing less here right now. So I do look forward to brighter days ahead. We have a lot of projects in the hopper, a lot of new ideas, new exciting, innovations. So I very much look forward to that. And, we got even some social activities. I think we need to focus on, some social activities in the short term, just to get our residents back out and see each other again. So I'm looking forward to that. But just a reminder again to Fiona, that's going to be coming here. It's ramping up. My latest that I saw was a Category 4. It's going to wind down. They were projecting that it may actually make landfall, Category 3 landfall in Cape Breton, which I think is the first time in Atlantic Canadian history, they said. So this is a big storm. Even though they're indicating that the southwest coast of Newfoundland may get the highest level of rainfall. And nonetheless, we are still getting wind gusts of 80 to 100 kilometers an hour is the latest I heard. So as always, just a caution, prepare for power outages. Let's hope not, but prepare for that. Put anything that could be airborne away, trampolines, furniture, umbrellas, all the like. And again, we'll get through this. And I do want to end on a positive note again here, Your Worship. We got a wonderful email from Mr. Schwartz with our economic development team, and some exciting news for the International Economic Development Awards of Excellence. The International Economic Development Council gives out annual awards, and Mount Pearl won 3 awards again, which is just unbelievable. Our team this is not the first time that we've received these awards or such awards, but again, fantastic. We got a gold medal for Donovan's brand identity. We got a gold medal for our special purpose website, and we got a silver medal for our special event, and that's Hacking Mount Pearl that we've been doing. So again, hats off. to our team in the economic development department here, but also I know there's many people that are involved with this. Mount Pearl is an organization where we tap into each other's expertise and everyone chips in when a hand is needed. So this is fantastic news, and I'm just so proud of the work that our team does each and every day, as our CEO said. And it's nice that they receive the recognition they deserve for the great work that they do. So I just wanted to end on that, Your Worship. I thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Kiley, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. And thank you to I wanted to share as another member of the corporate services team, and it was incredible. The amount of talent and skills and work that comes from our economic development team, our communications team, our corporate services, just working together is incredible. And in and amongst everything else, the fact that we're winning awards is just, it's wonderful. And it just demonstrates that we have incredible amount of talent surrounding us. So I just wanted to also offer my support. I also just wanted to quickly share a resource. And I know that certainly from the perspective of the city, we are going to be giving updates with regards to the weather that we potentially, hurricane type of weather we're going to be having. But there was one that was shared by the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. And it was, there is actually on the provincial website a prepared checklist. And if you go to gov.nl.ca/be prepared /be-prepared but if you just go to government NL, I'm sure you could find that. I know that's quite a mouthful, but it gives you some very pragmatic ways to prepare for what can be very difficult. And certainly in a community of diverse individuals where you may not have as much accessibility, or you might have issues with mobility. Some things that they do say that I just want to identify, just make sure for the next weekend you have the essentials. So they identify food, pet food, prescriptions, which I thought was important, bottled water, extra fuel, as some of the key things that are really important to that. And as Councillor Lockett and I've mentioned, just make sure your property is tidy and loose of any items. And if you're wondering, I've been told this, if you're wondering what is potentially something that can, anything in your yard that can't necessarily be tied down should really be put away or fastened. You'd be surprised with the amount of wind, what can happen. And just making sure flashlights and portable radios have full batteries. And that you also charge your own devices, and potentially with a surge may not keep them plugged in. You might overload your phone over the night. And finally, ensuring that your home, just touch base with your insurance coverage before this happens, just to make sure you have the adequate coverage in relation to this. So those are the key things along with the prepared checklist. I also, I've got I had a lovely gift arrive to here today at the table for my colleague Councillor Fry, and all I got left is an eyeball, and it was, I promise you, at one point a smile cookie. And I just wanted to thank my colleague for reminding us all about what this week is, which is everybody's opportunity to have extra carbs and sugar as a chocolate chip cookie. So just, but in all honesty, it's a great initiative for all participating Tim Hortons. And it goes directly back to local charities. And thank you for Councillor Fry for allowing me to have this. And all I got is the delicious blue eyeball left of that. So it's a good cookie.
Yeah, but you ate the other one.
And that's all for me, Your Worship.
Oh my, thank you very much. Councillor Rand.
Your Worship, I started off with 2 notes. I was doing great.
I'm cognizant of the time.
Yeah. But as people started to talk, I added more and more and more. And I'd like to talk about our economic development team first. I mean, I was on corporate services prior to recreation, and I must say our team is so strong. Led by Cassie, Jeremy, Brandon, and Josh. I mean, that team is so cohesive and they put things together. You know, when I was working, I was in marketing and I would love to have that team, but they know what to do. And, you know, we can hold them up against anybody, you know, and our economic development team is so good. And people talk about Mount Pearl. So Cassie, thank you, and pass on to your team. It's really well done. The other one I have, as we were talking about everything else, you know, it's a busy committee, but now our recreation and community safety committee, we're looking forward to get things back rolling in the city. We have a meeting tomorrow and we're coming up with all these ideas, and stay tuned. We have many, many things to come. And now to get back to the notes that I really started off with, last week we lost a good resident, a very good resident, a good friend of mine in the city, Paula Buck. Paula lived in her city most of her life. She raised 2 children, Robert and Keith. And Robert and Keith are quite active in Mount Pearl. And she lives beside her husband, Frank. They live over in Mortimer Drive, and they've been quite active in Mount Pearl. Paula worked for the federal government for 27 years. And when she retired, she got quite active with Knights of Columbus. And she volunteered quite heavily with the Ladies Auxiliary. So she's certainly going to be missed in our community. Also, just last week, one of our own got promoted, Paul Chater. Paul Chater grew up in Mount Pearl. He's the son of the late Charlie Chater and May. He lived on Sunrise Avenue. And Charlie's he's after moving up. Paul's after moving up the ranks in the fire department. He's been moving along quite well. You know, he's been a firefighter, fire lieutenant. You want a cookie? And just recently, he was platoon chief. And just last week, as of September the 17th, or September the 19th, Paul has been promoted now to Deputy Chief of Support Services. So it's great to see a young Mount Pearl fella doing well. So congratulations, and maybe we can drop off a little note and congratulations. And that's everything from me, Your Worship.
I'm sure the city clerk will make a note. Thank you very much, Councillor Antle. And Councillor Lane.
Thank you, Your Worship. On the topic of Fiona, which is actually my cat's name, by the way, she's a bit of a hurricane herself. But anyways, I just thought that it is important to mention as well to residents that to keep in mind that a lot of us may have indoor outdoor cats, not that we're supposed to, but anyways, many of us do, not me, but many of us do. So if you do have an animal that resides outside most of the time, I think it's very important to note to make sure that they have adequate shelter during the storm, because I don't think any of us want to look out the window and see a cat or dog fly by. Definitely not. But in all seriousness, yeah, it's very important to think about your animals during storms as well, because I think most of us who have animals love them just as much as if they were a part of the family. So I want to make sure that they're taken care of as well. And just one other thing for me, the Mount Pearl Marlins, Chris Weeks, he is going to be competing in the FINA World Cup, and that'll be happening in Toronto on October 28th to 30th. So I just wanted to extend good luck to him and congratulations. And that's it for me, Your Worship. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And to you, Councillor Fry.
I know we were talking about National Tree Day, but do you know that it's also National Coaching Week in Canada? September the 17th to the 25th is National Coaching Week. And I read a quote earlier, and I just wanted to share it here now. It says, "A good coach can change a game, but a great coach can change a life." And that was by John Wooden. So I just wanted to say a big shout out to all of the coaches who make a difference, because we have a lot here in the city and we're very grateful for all of them. And I know several in this room have volunteered as coaches as well. Really great ones. The Mount Pearl Sport Alliance are looking for volunteers for the upcoming Telly 10 road race. That's Saturday, October the 8th. And if anybody is interested, they can contact the Sport Alliance at mpsportalliance@mountpearl.ca. And also on that day, Saturday, October the 8th, the Mount Pearl Library are hosting a kids crafternoon. And that's from 2 to 4 p.m. And what's interesting, I find it interesting, it's wood slice pumpkin painting. So I think I might be interested in that one myself. Always nice to have crafts. And the Marconi District Girl Guides are also looking for volunteers. They're currently recruiting guiders for Sparks, Brownies, and Guides. And you'll see them all over the place in Mount Pearl at different events. So we're looking to make a difference there. And in my report earlier, I forgot to mention in terms of services, that all services and programs operating as usual at full capacity with a special focus on ensuring improved turnaround time for providing permit review and issue, inspections of capital works and private development, and compliance letters for property transactions. So I just wanted to mention that. And finally, for me, I know we were all, when we were talking about the last number of weeks, and we, many, many people to thank, but I just want to say thank you to our residents for their patience and their understanding and their support. And for those who reached out and encouragement and all of the above, I think, thank you to our residents and also to anybody who made it possible for our kids to enjoy sports this summer. And that's it for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll close by talking about a bit of business. We have a committee to hold tonight. Next Tuesday, council will have another committee to hold and it's a chance to regroup. We need to establish our expectations for between now and Christmas, which will include finalizing our strategic plan and will also include a budget. So expect to see the meetings get doubled up, probably midway through October to about the middle of December. Director Pittman, I'm looking at you and I see you just coming off the bargaining team and the transition occurring, but yes, the budget preparations soon have to begin. So we'll get those discussions going because, while we're not at our normal service levels, we don't miss a beat. And I can assure the residents of Mount Pearl that they're going to see a strategic plan from us fairly shortly. Most of that work is done. It'll be visionary, and also they can expect a budget. And I'm on record as saying in a couple of questions with the media today that, there are some costs to do with the strike. There's a new collective agreement, which is adding costs, but there's also some strike savings. But what I'm saying is that will all be wrapped up. Whatever's on our books for the year to date 2022 will be reflected in the budget of 2023, which I believe is being brought down by the Corporate Services and Public Works Committee, led this time by Deputy Mayor Kiley. So you can expect to see that in December. So I want to assure our residents that we're hitting the ground running again. And I look forward to working with all of you in the next few months and for the next 3 years. So congratulations to everybody on a good meeting. And on that notion, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn and moved by Councillor Lane, second by Councillor Antle. We are